Welcome back. It is day 13 of the UAW strike, and former President Donald Trump is in Metro Detroit to speak at Drake Enterprises, which is a non-union parts supplier in Macomb County. His visit comes just a day after President Biden joined striking auto workers on the picket line.
UAW President Shawn Fain says he will not meet with Trump and says that Trump represents the billionaire class that the union is trying to fight. Meanwhile, around 19,000 UAW members from 41 plants across the country are on the picket line.
Vice President of UAW Local 51 in Detroit, Luigi Gjokaj, joins us now. Thanks for being with us again.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we talked to you just a week or two ago, and some things have changed since then. Not only are more plants across the country on strike now, but we're seeing these high-profile visits in the Detroit area. The sitting president, a historic moment yesterday when he joined the picket line, and now the former president coming to town today. What's the word on the ground with the workers? Is this important? Does this hold weight with the workers, these high-profile visits?
It's always going to hold importance when any of your elected leaders from the country are going to show up. I would have preferred if some of them would have showed up to maybe the Swartz Creek plant where a couple of our workers were injured on the picket line. It would have been nice if Trump would have came to a union facility since he claims to want a lot of the union support. But I think it was good that President Biden showed up for the first time ever. That is historic. It would have been nice also if presidents throughout the years, the history of the labor movement would have been there. I'm more appreciative of our local representatives that have showed up and showed out and supported us not only during contract years but in non-contract years. The legislation is what's important to us, not so much the lip service.
So it's great to have the visit, but based on what you're seeing and hearing on the ground, how do you think this could impact the negotiations, or will it at all?
I mean, you never know. You really never know. We always want to try to get favorable legislators and elected representatives in office that favor labor. It's always going to help us, no different than when they enacted child labor laws. Companies didn't willingly do that. We had to get legislation passed to have them stop employing children in factories. So you always want that on your side. And we do have a process in the UAW that they've set up. It's member-oriented candidate screening, and that happens at the regional offices. So I know our regional director, LaShawn English, has also set that up and continued forward with that, where we have regular members that are not elected. They don't have to be. They can be regular workers on the line, and they get to screen the actual candidates. And the candidates are invited to come and speak to us and speak to our issues. And that's what we decide based on those reports and those screenings on who we're going to support.
You know, they're coming here, the president and former president, to show support, but also you could consider it a campaign stop. They want the vote of the union worker. What role do you think politics play within the union? Are you guys having political debates on the assembly line?
I mean, we're going to have debates over sports games, over politics. I mean, politics, religion, sports, you're always going to have those debates. It's always been respectful, though, for the most part. Even when people have disagreed in the plant over the years, it's always, at the end of the day, what are they going to do for us? So it's always going to come back to that. Ideology usually doesn't play a part in that. We have our personal convictions, but we also we have our private convictions and ones that make business sense. I think that's the one we're more focused on, is what are they going to do for us?
So you don't think there's a clear lean? UAW workers lean one way or the other?
No, we're going to lean. We're going to support those who support us. It's real simple. We're simple people.
Sure.
If you support me, I'm going to support you.
Yeah. I mean, for the strikers, it takes a lot of bravery to do this, right? And we've been hearing about some layoffs and things happening as we continue to wait as this stretches on. How are you feeling about that and the possibility of that being a reality?
I mean, it's always a reality, even in non-contract years. There were layoffs during the Great Recession. So it's always on our mind. It's obviously more on our mind now during contract year. And I think that's a key thing that I would like to see changed. Some of the laws on unemployment, how that goes. Because the way it's structured right now, you don't get unemployment if you're on strike, and you don't get unemployment if you're on a layoff due to a strike, from the way I understand it. And there are other states that have things in place where workers would get that extra from the unemployment to keep them whole and to maintain a strike line, which would allow them a little more power against a multi-billion-dollar multinational corporation. And I think that's something we should focus on. No different than when right to work was overturned. That was a huge win for workers and for working families. You can no longer belong to the union, get all the benefits of the union, but not have to pay into the dues.
Now, the most recent movement in the strike, when it was expanded last week, it appeared things were maybe going a little bit better with Ford. All of the parts suppliers within GM and Stellantis were affected by that. You work with Stellantis,
Yes.
so are you getting nervous as we potentially are, we're going day by day, no deal has been announced. Are you worried that this could hit closer to home very soon for you?
Oh yeah, it could. I mean, Ford didn't put their parts plants out, so that indicates to us that something's going on in the positive. GM and Chrysler or Stellantis, maybe not so much. If they didn't strike some of the parts plants, we would have thought, okay, they're making some progress. We'll see, but we're ready. We're definitely ready and waiting. Anytime President Fain tells us to stand up, we're going to stand up nice and tall and proud and do what we got to do.
All right. Well, we will be following every moment of it. This is Luigi Gjokaj. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me again.